Well, we made it back up here in the mountains again. I actually got up here late last night, just before dark. So I didn't do any videoing, we just kind of got set up. I'm actually up here with a bunch of my family. I got two brothers up here with their families, and then me and my son. And I don't know, we're in an area that we've camped a lot. This is kind of one of our places we like to go. We've been coming here since the 90s. For years, this campground we're in right now. I'll have to walk around and show you it a little bit. But we used to come up here every year and get firewood several times every year. Enough for me, my dad, I had a brother, I think a sister, and we'd come up and get firewood. We hauled a lot of firewood out of here. So back years ago they had a beetle get in here and it was just killing all the trees. So there's still a lot of firewood back in here. Which is kind of nice when you go camping, because I can just walk right over here and I can get all the firewood I want. I don't have to hunt or look for it. But no, I got a lot of memories right here in this area. There's this campground here, there's one down the road that we've stayed in a lot, and then there's one back that way a little ways that we've stayed in a lot. This one right here is probably the one we've stayed in the most. We haul a lot of firewood out of here. We haul a lot of firewood out of the one. We cleaned that one out down there, and then we moved up to this one and we cleaned out this whole area. And we got a lot, like I said, we got a lot of memories here. It's fun. I really enjoy coming here and just hanging out, especially with family, which is what we're doing this weekend. The rest of them, so me and my one brother, we're the only ones here right now. My son and my other brother, and anyway, a bunch of them went on the dirt bikes and four-wheeler, and they're making a loop around. It's a ATV trail, and it goes clear back around, so they're making that loop. I didn't bring my dirt bike or my four-wheeler or anything. I just brought my Jeep. My knee's been kind of bothering me. It's actually finally getting better, and I just don't want to mess it up, because every time it starts getting better, I mess it up. So I'm just taking it easy. I brought my Jeep so I can go, dink around a little bit and look around and stuff. And it makes it so I can take my dog too. I can't do that on the dirt bike. So anyway, we're just kind of hanging out for now. But been nice. Got up this morning and it's just beautiful up here. We got a creek right over here. Like I said, I'll show you all this here in a second. Might drive up the road, kind of show you that one too if there's nobody there. The campground back the other way, somebody's camping there, so we won't be able to go in there. Well, I'll show you around here. I'll show you kind of what the campsite here looks like. So anyways, take a look at this. So this is the road, came in off there. This is kind of a nice spot for a bigger group of people, which when I got a bunch of my family, it's a pretty big group of people. But anyway, you come in here, my brother's got his truck camper here. And then of course I'm over there. And my other brother set up here. And then we got the trailer over here out of the way. I pulled the Jeep up on. But anyway, let's kind of walk down this way, kind of show you the hangout spot where the fire pit where it's at. And it's kind of cool. I have camped back in where it's at before, but it's easier just to camp out here, and then especially with the big group we got. But it still makes for a nice camp, or a nice place to hang out, and it's right next to the river. So, I shouldn't say river, next to the creek. Anyway, yeah, it kind of sits back here in these trees. It's kind of cool. And camp stuff's out that way. I'll just kind of spin it around here. Anyway, so we got the fire pit right here, kind of hanging around that. And then we got the creek right here. So there's always kind of a little bit of a thing here, but I guess my nephew, before we got up here yesterday, he spent a bunch of time building it up. So anyway, and years ago we actually saw some salmon, or at least one salmon, coming up right through here, which is kind of weird. So anyway, this is kind of what it's like. If you look over, I can't really see because trees are pretty good there, but on the backside up on the hill is where we had a fire and it burned all those. this is kind of what it looks like here. All of our firewood. That's one thing here is there's lots of firewood. So you can look over here. You can see all those dead trees that are still out there, and you see all the stumps and stuff everywhere. But yeah, there used to be a lot of more trees in this whole area that we're at. But like I said earlier, the beetles came in here and they were just killing all the trees, and it's kind of stopped. I think now they had a forest fire come through here. I think it was in 2012-ish, give or take a little. And I don't know, it didn't seem like the trees, but we'd come up here, and the next year you'd come up here and more of the trees that we were camping in were all dying. So it's really easy to get firewood because it's really close here. You got firewood all around us, but kind of nice in that aspect, just because some of the areas I've camped, it's harder to find dead trees, which is good because it means the forest is healthy. But so that's kind of what it looks like. That's kind of where we're at. But this is kind of it's nothing super. I mean, there's not a lot of trees right here or anything like that, but it's still it's a cool place. It's a lot of memories here. I've spent a lot of time here with family, getting firewood, just camping, hanging out, all up and down this whole road in different camp spots. This one's the one we spent probably the most time at. I'll mention a little bit why we've camped here a little later on, a lot, and it has to do with the fact that it is a little opened, and there's a reason for that, and I'll show that a little later. Well, I'm gonna make me some lunch. It's about 1 o'clock, so get started on that. Nothing too fancy here. I think I'm just going to do a half sandwich and have a cookie or a candy bar or something. Tie me over till dinner. Black Forest ham. I haven't had this for a while. I used to have Black Forest ham all the time, but I haven't had it for a while. So we're gonna have some for this camp trip. A little bit of Swiss cheese. I guess we're gonna get some pickles too. So take this as well. I am gonna have some lettuce as well. Some nice pickles. Actually, I had a tomato in there I could have put on, but maybe we'll do that tomorrow. So you probably noticed I've got a band-aid on here, so I thought maybe I'll mention something on that, but I just had a spot taken on my face. They stitched it up, and so that was just on Monday. So I just got to wait for stitches to come out next Monday. Then I'll have to keep it covered, but I have to keep it covered until then. So That's why I got band-aids on my face. So I'm gonna drive down here to this next campground. We'll go take a look at that and kind of show you that a little bit. Yeah, so this is another camp spot we've camped at a bit. It doesn't look like anybody's really camped here much for a while. But this is the last place we were getting firewood. There's still a lot of wood in here. We started just having a semi load it because we were having to get so much. But anyway, I'll show you around here. Yeah, so that's kind of where you come in at. But we used to camp in here a bit. Not as much as the place we're actually camped at. This is where we were kind of getting wood when we quit getting wood up here. And you can see there's a lot of dead wood around here. Just kind of pan around here. But yeah, there's a lot of dead wood. And that was called caused from the beetles. But anyway, so you had this kind of this open area right here that we kind of camped in. And then right over here was a fire pit. One of the last times we were up here getting firewood, we were late in the season and it actually snowed on us a little bit. But it doesn't look like it's been used very much. The last little bit. It used to be used pretty, a lot. But I don't, just driving in here, it doesn't even look like people have come in here very much like they used to. But let's walk over here, I'll show you the creek. Anyway, here's the creek. We're upstream from where we're camping. I think there's actually another creek that comes into this one down between here and where we're camping. But I don't know, it's nice. When we first came in here, all these dead trees when we first started. Gus, come here. I don't need him in the water. He already just did that a minute ago. But anyway, when we first came in here, come on Gus. Started camping in here, the trees weren't dead and it was really pretty. But then there was several years there that they were just dying like crazy from the beetles. So haven't camped here for a long time, but we used to. Anyway, I'm gonna head back to camp. All right, kind of waiting for the chicken to cook. So I thought I'd share the rest of the story of why we kind of chosen this camp spot to camp a lot, even though it's, well, because it is not have a lot of trees right where we're camping. So as I mentioned before, there's a lot of dead kill from the beetles quite a few years ago now. I think you don't see as much now, but up outside of this where we're camped, up on the mountain more, that all burned, most of it on both sides of us. So between the beetles and the burn, in 2017, I was up here with a friend, and he had his two boys there, and then I was here. And we'd been out doing stuff for the day, and we got back to camp right here where we're at now, and we're just getting ready to start a fire, and so we could, cook dinner and just have dinner. Well, just as we're getting the fire started, thunderstorm and rain and wind and everything just come in. It was blowing hard, and so we're kind of camped out here where there's no trees around us. We got out of the truck and it's blowing, raining, trying to get the fire going, and we can hear trees going down everywhere. It's just like boom, 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 all across the creek. I mean, you tree after tree after tree, you just crashing down from the wind. And it was kind of a little unsettling, but knew we were okay because we didn't have any trees right around us here. And for quite a few years, that's kind of been a problem up here because of all the dead trees. I haven't noticed it so much the last 2 or 3, maybe 4 years, but I know up to 2020, every year I came up here. It might have been a year or so after that. I just don't remember for sure. We'd have these windstorms come through, and it might also be because I haven't been up here when the wind's blown like that the last few years. But every year there for a while, we'd be up here camping, and the wind would pick up, and you'd just hear trees coming down everywhere. The time when my friend and we were up here, it calmed down afterwards. Of course, we ate dinner, went to bed, and there were some guys hunting back in behind here, hunting bear, and we never heard them come back out. We talked to them a couple times earlier, and they came out like early morning. The next morning, we were going out, have to cut a couple trees to even get out, and they'd got in there. All the trees, there's a bunch of trees that got blown down across the road. It took them most of the night to get back out. They ran out of fuel when they're almost back to camp. I managed to get around one of the trees there and get back to camp, and they were back cutting some out when we were coming out. And while he's cutting one out, a little tree fell on his four-wheeler. So it's just crazy. But for the next several years after that, one time we were back in 2020, the reason I remember particularly that it did it till at least 2020, we'd gone back in further, back in one of the lakes, and we were coming back out, and we were having to come out some snow the last little bit. And anyway, my brother's Jeep Gladiator wasn't built yet, and his four-wheel drive wasn't working for some reason, so I was having to hook onto him and pull him out. And it was funny because trees start crashing up the hill from us. And then he said, right there, the one's cracking there where he's at. And so anyway, it was crazy. The wind came in, same deal, a bunch of trees come down. But anyway, there were several years there that's what we dealt with. So this camp spot felt like a really safe place to camp. So that's why we always kind of came back here, because we knew that if that happened, we wouldn't have any trees falling on us. But I still like the area. Used to be a lot more trees until recently, until all the bug kill, and then we took a bunch out for firewood. But anyway, so that's kind of why we have camped. That's kind of why we camped here. We actually camped at the next one up, which is where I showed you a little bit earlier. And one night it was doing that. And I don't remember, that was either 2020 or 21, I don't remember. And lightning, thunder, blowing, and the same deal. We're sitting there and there's trees coming down. We're hearing them, and there's some trees by us. And I was like, well, as long as those don't come down, we're good. But anyway, so that's kind of the story on why this is a good camp spot. No trees to fall on us. So anyway, well, we'll wait for the chicken finish cutting or cooking, not cutting, and then we'll be able to eat. All right, the chicken is cooked. Some lettuce, leave some for Tanner. He's actually off. They're gone right now, so he can eat when he gets back. Ranch. You always gotta have pepper. Yeah, chicken's really good. I really like the way that Traeger cooks it. Turns out really good. So today's been a good day. Did a little bit of stuff, chunk of this afternoon, the last part of this afternoon. Kind of hung out with my brother and his family, just kind of visiting, just enjoying being here. I don't know, it doesn't get better than this, I don't think, in my opinion. But no, it's good. It's good to be able to spend time with family, and I've worked with a lot of my brothers. I'm actually in business with one. Others worked for us and started their own. So we've done we've worked together quite a bit, and we've played together quite a bit, so it's been nice. So just up here, enjoying being up here in the outdoors, and it's been a good trip so far. Well, good morning. I slept good last night. Just getting breakfast out of the way. Having a little bacon, or not bacon, having a little bit of eggs and sausage. It was really good yesterday when I had it. Well, it's been a fun trip. It's been kind of relaxing. Haven't done a whole bunch. Kind of hung around camp. We did go on a drive a couple times in the Jeep. Brother and a bunch of them took dirt bikes around. Sounded like they had fun, but had to cut a few trees. But anyway, I'm gonna finish up my breakfast, and I think I'm gonna end it here. And hopefully you enjoyed it, and we'll see you on the next one.